What about you getting the program on FaceTime?
We'll talk Laura and Marco. We'll talk Astros, U.S. Postal Service, and Asteroid, a whole lot more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
Lots of stuff flying around. I don't like that. Nope. It's all.
How are you?
It's Monday, man.
It is Monday.
If I'm honest with our friends, it's just kind of dragging along. It's Monday.
Let's do this.
Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at Deerland Feed. For everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. 73 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of 96. Mostly sunny skies all day, no chance of rain.
Till later in the week.
Rain comes Wednesday and Thursday with Marco.
Doesn't come with Marco.
Deerland Feed. Panels, T-posts, cedar posts, treated, untreated.
Time to plant your winter garden.
Seeds,
get all your
fertilizer, pesticides.
You gonna fertilize before Marco doesn't drop any rain on us?
Yeah. I did that a couple of weeks ago. Boy, do I regret it.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like a jungle. It's the Matt Boucher factor has just dominated my yard. I have to mow it twice a week. Or twice in 10 days.
Yeah, slight chance of rain Wednesday, Thursday, about 40%. So Laura formed first out in the Atlantic. Marco formed next, about a day behind. And then all the panic over the weekend by all the weather prognosticators was that these two storms were going to converge and be the mother of all storms. And
you saw not
Jim Cantore.
Jim Cantore talk about it. It was well done.
Yeah. But was that just a bunch of hype to get people watching the Weather Channel? Because even we talked
trying to take over.
Well, even we talked a little bit about it, but I mean, there's a good 2 days gap between these two storms. Right from the get-go, they were never going to join and combine.
Yeah. No, never going to happen. Marco now reduced back to a tropical storm. I don't know if that's good or bad.
And now they're saying it's going to curve and ride the coastline, which worries me because if it stays over the water, it could and head this way.
It could cause issues for a long time. I don't find it difficult that the storm will track west, but it's in my mind it's going to continue to go inland. It's hard to imagine the storm going to Beaumont and continuing on a southward track. That doesn't make sense to me. At some point it's got to go inland.
You would think.
Right? I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm not a meteorologist.
I'm not either, but I just
stayed at Holiday Inn Express.
I just sit there and I wonder how does that one traverse the coastline towards us, but Laura's just going to go straight up Louisiana and not bother us, right? How does that happen in one and not the other?
I don't know. Governor Abbott yesterday declaring 23 counties disaster zones already. Haven't even had the storm, but that gives us the chance to roll out. I guess people like Randy Vivian is now solving problems with NIM Kid.
I think that's what that does. Allows for funding early.
You feel good knowing that Randy Vivian is in charge of everything. He's like Joseph in his coat of many colors. Just we will all go and kneel and beg Randy Vivian for grain.
I thought that was Dolly Parton's song.
Right. That's the difference between a Southern Baptist and an agnostic Canadian. There you have it. Dave Garza, good morning. Lisa Poole, David Glass. Ash reads the names. I'm just here to help out with some semblance of humor.
C.W. Bean, Karen Webb, Marvin Mickish, Chris Conrad, good morning.
From the
Patrick
old country.
Strauss, Judge Posey, good morning. Bobby
Good morning,
Leister,
Judge.
62 YouTubers.
We were up to 67. Why do people?
Were we? I didn't think we
Yes,
were.
yes. No, it's, wait a minute. 62.
61.
It was like 80 something, wasn't it?
I don't know.
It's just terrible. We can't keep. It's like there's no reason for them. Once they do it, they don't even know that they did it. You know what I mean? It's like they're getting notices waiting Carter's
Oh,
on.
it just tells me there's a bunch of Russian bots. They've been eliminated from YouTube.
I'll take them if I could get 1,000 listeners.
Greg Garcia, good morning. Chris Jansen checking in. Jeremy Pena checking in from Pasadena. Matt Boucher, good morning. Rob Moore Knipling. Scott Snow, Miranda Tunchez, Lacey Dearland Rosenquist, good morning. Lisa Poole.
Miranda Tunchez.
Don Nicole's in.
T-Mac, good morning, sweetheart.
Monica Jost, Patricia Nagel, Catherine Imes,
Dawn looked
my
good this
beautiful
morning.
wife Cheryl.
She prepped yesterday. She did meal prepping yesterday. 50-something meals. They were all over the kitchen. Well, there's one that ended up on the floor. Maggie had a really nice offering of spaghetti with turkey,
Nice.
meat sauce, and black olives and some carrots. And Dawn was like, "You're an idiot. You're letting that dog get to eat that off the floor." I'm like, "It's a lot easier than scooping it up." And she just,
Yeah,
exactly. It up.
All you got to do, you got to just get a little cleaner and a rag and wipe up the grease thing, and you're done. Yep.
Absolutely.
It's a whole lot easier.
I had the mop out. But
Stella
Dawn,
Brennan is Carl Big Boy Smith.
Dawn looked at me and said, "Oh, look, 92. See? 92. YouTubers."
Typo.
She figured out that for us to get adequate rest tonight, that we probably need to get in bed about 5:15. True story. It's like, I'm done.
Weekends are not restful.
No, there's nothing restful in my life except that little downtime with Dawn. That's about it.
Christina Wise checking in. Jason Brandon, good morning.
Hi, Jason.
Yeah, we had Graydon came and visited us all weekend because my daughter was fishing in the Texas Women Anglers Tournament.
Y'all are doing a great job as parents.
I think so, too. Grandparents raising their grandkids.
I mean, once you've got them 50% of the time, you're not really a grandparent anymore. You're like a primary caregiver.
So, but boy, he wears you out. It's nonstop. He goes. Takes a break for a couple hours in the afternoon.
Does he call his dad Uncle Tyler? Calls you Pops. Hey, Pops. Hi, Uncle T. Tyler, I'm just kidding. I know your daughter's listening because she fished this weekend. I just, I want to take this thing. First of all, they call it the TWAT tournament, okay? Texas Women's Anglers
Tournament.
So it's the TWAT tournament to begin with. Number one, it's degrading and it's insightful. It's terrible. And then number two, they have a best decorated boat, but yet these are women anglers, many of whom could outfish me for sure, like no humor. But they want to be taken seriously as anglers, and they want to be taken seriously as equal competitors with the men. They call their tournament TWAT, and then they decorate their boats.
Because it's
Come
a fun
on,
tournament.
girls. There's no fun in offshore fishing. It's all work.
So Tyler's team won first place tuna, first place decorated boat.
Well, first place decorated boat. Now, what was their theme of their boat?
They did like a Wild West theme. The guys were all like gunmen and gunfighters, and the girls were all saloon girls, except for the Captain Hunter. He was their prisoner.
Nice. Actually, quite fun. It should be very difficult to get a bunch of lazy, drunk men to do that at other tournaments.
They're not doing that ever.
No, they're not doing that. Well, congratulations, Tyler. Tyler Dick, by the way, folks, if you want to go fishing, offshore fishing, whatever, get a hold of Tyler. We'll help you track him down. All the kid does is put people on fish. And this is not any kind of paid promotion here. This is just the facts.
And I can attest because he put my dad and me on fish, and in about an hour we had everything we could catch and eat.
But if you're going offshore, well, yeah, he took y'all to HEB, that case over there. Oh, I recommend the tilapia. That'd be great.
It was the fishing game at the carnival.
Right. You kept throwing your ping pong balls and just eating them like sushi.
Yep.
That would be something. Now, that would be something if you threw that little ping pong ball and you get like the beta fish, you just ate it. Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Jake checks in there. Sheriff Louderback.
Good morning.
Philip Barone. Good morning, sir. Yeah, but that would be a great trip if you could hook up with Tyler Dick, because every time he goes offshore, he sets some kind of record.
Tom Price, good morning. Yeah, I mean, he's only been put on a couple of. He's only put his fishermen on huge marlin this spring.
True story. These guys, I've been in the water where I stood next to the guide and he's catching a fish on every cast and I'm not. And I'm like, what are you doing different? And he's like, see how you're doing your hand like this, do your hand like that. The next thing you know, you're catching fish. And Tyler's just that guy. He loves it. He lives for the water.
Well, the problem with you is your hand's always doing this.
Right. It's like if I do that, I spill my cocktail. Yeah, that's not good.
Not at all.
Nice.
Jeff Fonseca says 60-foot Bertrand with pink lights and flamingos.
That'll do it.
Oh, man. 60 feet, that's about as far as the Astros hit the ball this weekend collectively.
They were terrible. They dropped 3. The Padres went off on them. What, 4-3, 13-2 or 3.
Yeah,
they lost
5-3 yesterday. Yeah, and I think coming in, they were about the same, 15 wins each. And
Padres took 3.
Padres took 3. The only good thing is the Astros now head up to Anaheim to take on the Angels this week, for the first 3 days.
Baseball.
9-20, but you know what that means? The way the Astros season's going,
12-21.
Exactly.
How can that be though? I mean, they've got good players. Mike Trout is a phenomenal player.
Steve Kidder checks in. Cody Sugar says like clockwork.
He checked in. And Cody, by the way, not Jim Cantori, was hilariously good fun yesterday. I love the what do you call it? The Fiochi effect or whatever. One comes in, it could throw it around. Is that real?
Yeah.
They have no idea what they're talking about. He says one's going to come in and slingshot the other one around to get it going around to the other. They could merge together, become one big storm.
Then they do this.
You know, they both got.
He was looking a little Chris Farley-ish.
Yeah, he was great. He looked a lot Chris Farley-ish, but it was really good because I'm standing next to a sawed-off palm tree somewhere in South Texas. We're chasing this storm down, folks. Great stuff.
Something was going the wrong way.
Go to Cody Shooter.
If he waits there long enough, the storm will come to him.
Sooner or later. There's Miranda Tunches saying hello to Steve Kidder.
Didi Goggles says don't blame her for the Astros.
No, Didi, I'm sure you were working hard trying to get them through. They just didn't have it. Greinke yesterday apparently just didn't have it. It is what it is.
A lot of injuries. Greg Garcia says hopefully Brantley will get the Astros going. Is he coming back?
Yeah. Well, that's David Brantley, not Michael Brantley, the one that we need. That's his brother David is going to play for us. Yeah, Michael Brantley was back yesterday. I think he'll be fine. He was hitting around 400.
I thought David Brantley was the guy on ABC News back in the day.
David Brantley. David Brinkley was who that was. Before Peter Jennings.
Before Peter Jennings. After. Who would have been
was that? Who was at ABC? It didn't matter because Cronkite and even
then Rather
even dominated the news.
Rather's Tom Brokaw.
Tom Brokaw was at NBC forever. Wrote The Greatest Generation.
Who was at ABC? Peter Jennings.
Peter Jennings. But
before that,
I don't know. Who was there?
Peter Jennings, Canadian, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Long socialist. Did Dustin Johnson hang on and win that golf tournament this last week? Dustin Johnston?
If he didn't,
Johnson, he was up by
9 the last time I saw it. Yeah. He was 4 under through the first 5 holes yesterday.
Yeah, he probably won.
Want me to look and see?
Yeah, you can. Very quietly, a very, very, very good golfer. Just got zero personality. He is.
He only won by 11.
But in observations,
30 under. See, this is what I have.
Harris English, didn't he go to Texas? And that kid went to Texas, Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, he lapped the field pretty much.
It's just crazy. I saw him on a par 3. It's like,
The Northern Trust.
240 yards, and he hits it to like 4 feet with a little cut.
When you win with 30 under, that course isn't set up near tough enough.
It's not enough golf course.
No, one way or the other.
So you're averaging shooting 64, 63 for like 4 days. What were his scores? Can you touch him and his card should come up?
67, 60, 64, 63. So he really struggled out of the gate.
Shoots a 60 and a 63 in the same week.
And then there's a rather pedestrian 64 in the third round.
Just, folks, that's golfing your ball right there. That's dumb.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to see if there was any other.
His last 3 rounds were 60, 64, 63. Now, that I don't care who you are.
There are a couple other 64s and 63s.
That course is too easy.
Scheffler shot a 59 in round 2.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
I did not. That didn't even make the news.
No, it didn't. I did that. I just found that out. I was shocked.
He must be a Republican. That didn't make the news at all. He must have. Is he Jewish on top of that?
Well, he probably belongs to one of Donald Trump's golf courses.
Yeah. Scheffler. I doubt if he's Jewish.
Listen to John Rahm, right?
Rahm. R-A-H-M. Rahm.
He goes 69, 67, 67, 65, and doesn't even break the top 5.
Wow. Made $50.
He's the only, 332 grand.
Wow.
$50.
That'll get you through.
But there's your PGA.
See, I'm the guy that would be worried, like I think they automatically transfer that to your account. It's like direct deposit. I don't know.
How do they factor in the withholding? Jeff Fonseca says those are Golden Tee scores.
Yeah, I think they
I haven't seen me play Golden Tee.
That's what they're doing during the pandemic. They're playing indoor, socially distant Golden Tee.
Well, that's more like that. I mean, I can shoot those on Tiger Woods on my PS4.
So the other day, T-Lat and I decided to make a quick stop at the Prosperity Bank, which is the bank we use. So at their ATM. So I put my card into my machine at my bank. I put in my PIN number and it said, "Welcome, Brent Acart." And then it said, "Please take receipt." So I took the receipt. It says, "Unable to process your request at this time." And it didn't say insufficient funds, which is always, I spent enough time in college that I immediately, even though I know that there's money in the bank, I'm like, oh, good, that went through. It's like it's got PTSD.
Back to college.
From being broke. So when the machine won't give me money, I immediately feel like, what did I miss? What did I miss? Did I already pay the house payment? What did I do? I get home and there's an email from Prosperity from their fraud department. I have to call them. I had to give them yes, I'm left-handed. I had to give them all that data just to talk to somebody for them to say they were just protecting me. I'm like, why would you protect me? I'm in the same area code, same zip code as my house. I put in the card. I'm on the camera. I put in the PIN number.
Oh, they don't see the camera.
They were just fraud protection. Thank you.
At an ATM where you put in
at my bank. I mean,
their ATM.
Their ATM. Not like I was across the street.
Your card, your PIN.
Yeah. They said, "Welcome, Brent A. Carter." The PIN worked. Oh, no, we're unable to process that.
And isn't that what they always tell you? One of the ways to deter fraud is to always use your PIN.
Well, then they say to me, the lady says, "Hey, good news, though. Your card should be enabled now." I said, "Well, lady, I'm home now. I mean, I was leaving. Now I'm home." Anyway, it all worked out fine. And by the way, I told her, I said, "I appreciate you. You guys started thinking about that lady. It's a Saturday, 2:00 in the afternoon. She's stuck in there.
It's her, but it's not her Saturday. It's probably her Monday. It's your Saturday.
Tell you who works 24/7, 7 days a week. Allen's Record Service, 578-6300.
That's the number you need to call. Hopefully you don't need to, but when you need to, that's the number you should call. We don't wish you on anybody.
Allen was the champion this past month in hauling the biggest load and in the best decorated tow truck department. So others try to compete.
They can't.
Allen is the champion of the twat. Towing with authority. Texas twat. Allen's Wrecker Service. 578-6300. The VCS Company's Rocket Oilfield Services and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer. You know, I told you I was joking the other day, and I was joking with him as well because I have that rare deal. I've got several services I do through VCS that are monthly, you know, my surveillance and my alarm system. That's monthly bills that I get. But I had a little extra bill because of my media room, and I've been having fun with J.R. Hartman that I'm just, you know, I'm not going to pay it. I'm like joking with him, knowing that I'm going to pay it. J.R. just sent me a quick little message the other day, said, don't worry about it. I'll just take it out of your wife's check. He went straight to the juggler. Didn't have to do that, but he did it. That's the way they do things. They get things done at VCS. If you need surveillance, fire suppression, fire detection, you need a gate, solar panels. You don't think it all ties together, but it does. It's all about communication. How does your truck communicate with your gate? The gate communicates with the solar panel. The solar panel is connected to the knee bone. Reach out to the VCS companies today on Kurt Boulevard, just inside the loop off Main Street. SCT Building Systems, Clayton Casey Hill will help you with your next project.
You want a barn-dominium, he shed,
She shed,
covered carport,
maybe
patio cover.
She shed. Like
maybe so.
If you're a guy and you want to keep your feminine costumes out there you go. You got a she shed. Reach out 564-8864 for all your transvestite needs. Clayton Casey Hill, SCT Building Systems. Chesney Furniture Company,
116 West One Lane, beautiful downtown Victoria. Been there
Lynn and Bridge.
70 years. They've been in business for 100, and they're helping you celebrate their 100th anniversary by giving you 50% off of all furniture.
There you go. Bobby Leon and his family have been there for 3 generations. Reach out to them today.
So the Indy 500 ran yesterday?
Yeah,
It was over the weekend.
No, I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to run it.
Yeah, I was supposed to run May long weekend, but yeah, no,
No, it's not that.
it's not. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's probably too slow.
Guys turning left for 4 hours.
Open wheel racers, though. I love the Indy. I don't know what it is, but I could not watch it. Just not on the same weekend. He didn't do it for me.
Where's Gomer Pyle sing My Indiana Home?
But Scott Dixon leads for 111 laps and doesn't win it.
Really?
Yeah.
Out of what, 200? It's 2.5 miles
Yeah.
per lap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Folks, they get around that deal. I mean, if my numbers are right, these are like 37 seconds. They run like 2.5 miles. So
223 miles an hour, Ron Miner says.
It's crazy.
They were flying. I can remember when 200 miles was a big deal, and I think like AJ Foyt was hitting that back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not even.
Let's just do some.
Wasn't there a time where they were trying to actually keep them from breaking the 200 barrier because it was unsafe?
Because it was unsafe, but now the technology's gotten with the influence of down forces on the cars and all that, they're pulling more than a G.5 going around the track. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
220 miles an hour divided by 16 minutes an hour.
Takuma Sato wins it. He led for 27. Those were really the only two guys that ran out of things.
60 seconds. That's not right. 223. Help me out. Divided by 220 miles an hour divided by 16 minutes in an hour.
Yeah.
Is 3.71 miles a minute.
Crazy.
And the track is 2.5 miles.
So multiply that by 2.5 miles?
No, divided by 2.5. Tells me that they're going 1.5 laps per minute. So they're going 3 laps every 2 minutes.
Math. They told me there'd be no math in journalism school.
That's
Here
getting
he
it.
is.
It's 2.5 miles around that track. They're going 3 laps every 2 minutes.
Crazy.
That's dumb.
On average.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
they put the hammer
Not
down.
not counting yellows and cautions.
Right. Which is what makes it palatable to watch.
The wrecks.
And it turns out, there's a fireball. Everybody's okay. That's one thing about Indy racing. People are very, very safe.
Let's see. Bruins beat the Lightning 3-2. Golden Knights 5-0 shutout win over the Canucks, so they each lead their series 1-0. Dallas got a win Saturday night, beat Colorado 5-3, so they lead 1-0. They'll play tonight.
After the Stars
Dismantle my Flames.
the lackluster Flames. It's at least appropriate they go on to win. Why is Steve Kidder talking about tater tots?
I have no idea. They're having a whole different conversation.
Why do they do that?
Because just to annoy you.
Well, no, because their conversation is probably more interesting than what we're putting out over the airwaves.
It might be.
And I'm just trying to figure out if I should join their conversation.
You might want to.
Miranda says they might have to disagree, sir.
Speaking of disagreeing, I got a huge issue with the way this whole U.S. Postal Service thing has been handled. Because Louis DeJoy is the new Postmaster General, right?
Right. You had to look that up.
No, I knew the name.
Is he French?
No.
Is he from Canada?
No. He's only led a couple of logistics companies.
Oh, he's qualified to do this.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. I mean, took one from nothing, built it into a billion-dollar empire, and then it was acquired by somebody else, and he was the leader of that company.
Serious journalism, $1 billion empire. Big one, folks, a big one.
It's huge. I mean, companies that have only helped solve the logistic issues for several Fortune 500 companies. So he knows what he's doing. So then he starts implementing changes. Some that I think were some that he recommended, others that had been in the works forever, and they just never got around to doing them.
Right.
You know, because we talked at length with Michael Cloud Friday on how poorly run the U.S. Postal Service has been for the last, 200 years
or so.
Since, I mean, you know, maybe you could cut them some slack when they had to ride a horse from one end of the country to the other. Maybe.
The Pony Express.
You know, and you're out running Comanches and males flying out the bags on the horse and whatever, right? Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, wastes everybody's time getting him back for a Saturday vote. Friday, our Postmaster General sits in front of a congressional panel hearing to talk about the Postal Service. Today, he's going to sit, I think, and actually most of this week, he's going to actually be testifying in front of the Senate. Shouldn't those two things have happened ahead of a vote to throw a bunch of money at the Postal Service, which everybody has agreed on both sides of the aisle over the years that this thing is blowing in money like nobody's business, and that it's inefficient, it has problems. And the Postal Service Union has a few problems with some of the changes he implemented, like, let's get to your route on time, and let's cut the overtime.
Yeah, see, they're all milking the system for the OT.
I wouldn't say all. I know a few who work hard.
Well, we label all the cops as bad. Why can't we label all the Postal Service?
Okay, you got a point there.
As a system, they milk it for a little OT.
Yeah, and then
they seem like they hide under the guise of being a service. We're just like the military. We're a service. We're not a business. I get that, but you're highly inefficient. You're very, very expensive. It's and yet in the same breath, I've always said, you want to solve the problem, just double the price of a stamp. If it's worth mailing, it's worth spending $1 on. It is. If it's not worth spending $1 on it, don't mail it. Pick up the phone. You know, you don't pay long distance on this thing anymore. Anybody ever notice that? Remember, you used to get a long distance
roaming
bill?
Charges and all that stuff.
You used to get a long distance bill. Pick up the phone and call them.
Chris Conrad says the only thing they hide behind is their union. But isn't the process absolutely ass backwards here, or bass backwards, however you want to call it? When you're having the hearings basically at a time when your vote's already been cast, and don't get me wrong, right, mostly along party lines. So this was a purely political move by Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. There was no effort to solve it because they know it's going to die in the Senate, as it probably should.
It's just
because you complain about the system, yet your only solution is to throw $25 billion more dollars at it.
$25 billion
for a service that will not be insolvent if nothing else changes until August of 2021. It's still got enough money to keep going for the next year, folks. It's not like there's problems that had to be fixed today But it's just so typical of government and our federal government. Well, let's just throw more money at it and then we'll fix the problem.
$25 billion would probably repair all of the damage expected by Marco and Laura. Why not just send that money on down, rebuild New Orleans? Let's just rebuild New Orleans in advance of the storm, which is what they're doing. They're paying to solve the Postal Service's problems before they vote on what's happening.
Yet, here's a guy that was hired as Postmaster General mostly to actually fix the problems. And they're saying he's unqualified. He's led huge logistics corporations who understand these sorts of issues. I would say that unqualified people have been every Postmaster General who's come along before him.
Yeah.
To get to the
Not
point.
Ben Franklin. Now, come on.
Maybe Ben too.
Come on.
To
Steve Kidder.
To get to the point where we are now that our postal service is an inefficient, dysfunctional dinosaur that hasn't kept up with technology.
I agree 100%. 575-9509, Steve. Give us a call. 575-9509.
30 years ago, they were talking about, and the same thing in Canada. At some point, you're going to be able to just put the postal code down. You're not going to have to remember anybody's address, and we'll get it right to that door. Remember those?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Ain't happening. Clayton Meyer checking in. Good morning to you, Clayton.
So, you think Steve's like gargling over there, getting his voice ready? 575-9509.
I don't think he's doing anything. I don't know. It just struck me as odd that the only solution government seems to have at the federal level and even the state level a lot of times is let's just throw more money at the problem. Let's not actually solve the problem.
Well, I think that's the deal. And you've got a union involved, which I find interesting. I know it's a private enterprise or it's not part of the government or whatever. It's prescribed by the government, but it's not the government. How can they be unionized? I don't know about that.
Yeah, there was one other point I was going to make with this too.
Tom Innocence. I mean, it's always pertinent. The hearing today is in the House, and we'll get the facts from the Democrats, from the Democrat brainiacs like Maxine Waters. Brilliant comment there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Maxine Waters? Maxine Waters talk to you about the Postal Service.
That's something else too. You have a bunch of elected representatives who probably have never delivered a piece of mail in their life, and they're supposed to be the experts on the Postal Service all of a sudden?
Absolutely. Look, Steve Kidder's still talking. Stephen, listen, Stephen. 575-9509. We need a call from you.
Yeah.
Steve Kidder says Ash is doing great. Come on, Les.
But I thought the other thing that was interesting with this whole thing was, I don't know anymore.
Das Vidania. Veracruz for lunch today, folks. Get in, get out. Less than an hour. Pretty easy. 576-6015 if you want to pick it up to go.
He says Maxine for president.
Get in there. Get in there. Somebody told me the other day, they said, I don't know about how do you guys get Veracruz to advertise for you? Said Veracruz, those guys, I thought they were big liberals. And I said, well, is that because they're Hispanic? I mean, what are you telling me? Where do you get that logic? Well, they always have those signs out in front of their restaurant. I said, well, that's because those are the people that actually walk through the door and ask to put a sign.
Yeah.
And they said, well, how do you know they're not Democrats? And I said, trust me, they make way too much money to be Democrats.
And who cares if they are?
Right? Get by Veracruz today and let them take care of you. Let's see. I'm hoping that's Steve Kidder. Steve, just hang on a second. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull and his team will help you with your analytics, your Facebook presence, your website. They'll help you understand who's hacking into your system. They'll help you communicate with your QuickBooks. They just do all kinds of things that you're like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. Reach out to Razor IT Solutions and let JP Hull and his team solve your problems. The Adson Auto dealership since 1926, quite simply Victoria's dealership. Chevy, Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi, those are the new offerings. And they always have a full lot of gently pre-owned vehicles. There are no used vehicles. The used ones end up sent off. The pre-owned are kept. Be glad, since 1926, servicing all makes and models, all that stuff.
AdsonOffer.com.
Right. Do it. White Trash Services, 550-1826. BJ and Scott Nelson and their whole family and team have put together a wonderful. You never thought you'd get excited about trash service. Let me tell you, if you're in the 6-county surrounding area, if you're in Holiday Beach, if you're in Rockport, just know that White Trash Services, you call, you get a body. They answer your questions, and then they actually show up when they tell you they will. Don't count on that from other people. 550-1826. Now,
should we go to the phone line?
let's see who's on the phone. It's that one.
That one.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Are you talking to yourself? See, we haven't been listening to you at all. But now we're here. Now you're able to talk. Who we got? Brad Miner on mobile.
You lose your mobile, Brad Miner? You're
real quick. Tyler, Ash's daughter, she just reported that Atzenhofer, or Tommy Taylor and his group, won the biggest marlin.
They won first place. Blue
That's
marlin.
awesome. We'll have to maybe we can get Tommy to come on and talk about that.
I think they were catch and release, so they were.
Yeah,
they had a bunch of them.
Who wrote that paragraph up above? Not that Brad's not extremely important. Just there's a paragraph up above, right? Keep going right there. What is that all?
C.W. Bean says, "Here's a thought. There's an old saying: if there's blood in the street, start buying up property. So who's getting rich with buying up all the failed mom and pop businesses and destroyed prime property, while backing Antifa, BLM, and COVID-19 damage of lost businesses? Not to mention the party that is destroying America by the do-nothing Democrats."
George Soros. That's my thought.
Probably so. Brad Miner, what's happening, sir? I would say ever, not even forever. They've never done it. I agree. You got a good point.
It's a legit point.
It's too legit to quit, probably.
But why do we keep reelecting him? How does Maxine Waters keep getting reelected in Houston? Just apathy? Because it can't be because of a list of accomplishments. They don't exist. There are no accomplishments. Baffling. Yep. You're right.
Well,
Michael Jolly just pointed out you begged Steve Kidder to call. Brad Miner on mobile answers the call. It's a family show.
yeah. Well, and here's the other interesting part, because it almost explains, Mitt Romney, here's a guy who's been elected in every state across the country at some point, right?
He's America's candidate, except when he ran for
president. Yeah. To me, that tells you that money plays a huge role, because you've got a bunch of uneducated voters who will then cast a ballot for the guy who they or gal candidate whose name they hear the most, or who makes a cute enough soundbite, good enough soundbite to appeal to them, and that's it.
No new taxes. Right. Ignorant can be educated. Crazy can be medicated. Stupid is forever. That's true. Ash just spilled coffee on his chest.
Myself.
So funny.
Perfect timing. Talking about stupid, I spilled my coffee. As I'm drinking it.
It's craziness.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Brad, keep
Really
us in the
appreciate
loop.
it, man. Good to hear from you
It's
again.
good to hear from you. Take care of the kids, and we love you. Okay, brother. Bye-bye. That's Brad Miner, longtime listener, and not a first-time caller. He's
No.
been on. Steve, Michael Jolly's making fun of you.
Phone lines are open.
Yeah.
361-575-9509.
There's Martine Pitts. You know,
Morning, Martine.
Martine, join
What's
the program, Martine.
What's Chris Conrad saying? The lowest common denominator keeps moving lower, which is the goal of the
That is the goal of the left. If everybody gets to the bottom, then we're all on the same floor.
Yeah. Couple of things couple of maybe last takeaways, because tonight, the Republic National Convention kicks off. And I'm going to be honest, I probably won't watch it.
I'm not going to watch it either.
And I'll tell you why in a second. But a couple of things in looking back.
Does it come on after 5:15 at night? Because I'm going to be in bed.
Hey, good morning, Wade and Carter.
On a serious note, do I have to just plead, just blatantly beg to get the phone call? I mean, what?
Obviously.
What is up with that? I thought we were like family. What exactly? Give us the Cliff's Notes version of what's going on. You and Miranda. Is it Miranda? Y'all are. It's more. The dish. It is of interest to me. Y'all are arguing somehow about tater tots and French fries, and that's dominating the comments section of the right side of our screen. And here we are talking about the conventions and
Postal Service,
and the hurricanes and things of interest, and you actually intrigued me. I want to see what's going on with fries and tots. By the way, fries, the end all be all of store-bought fries is still McDonald's, is still the standard. Number two is, if you're going to do them at home, you must use Ore-Ida crinkle cut French fries and fry them crispy in 350-degree grease.
See, in Canada, it's the McCain Super Fries.
Yeah, in Canada, they cook them till they're mushy, and then they put cheese curds on them. Oh, go ahead. Oh, you're calling that like a Whataburger, like a hash brown. Yeah, it's quite tasty, but it's just grease. It just tastes like grease. Yeah.
It's a grease blanket.
It's a grease blanket. Yeah, it's like a little grease pad. It's like a maxi grease pad thing. Absolutely. Oh, so you're using our show's comments to hit on Miranda. Miranda, we'd like to arrange a dream date for you and Stephen, and as part of the deal, we will buy the first round of cocktails. Wade and Carter will pay for the first round of cocktails. Because if you go with Stephen, there can be multiple rounds of cocktails.
Yeah, we can't afford that tab.
We can't pick up the whole tab, but we'll buy the first round.
The only disclaimer is you have to call us back and let us know how it went.
You have to let us know how your dream date went. Like, do you give him the rose? Does he get a second date? Right. Well, it's, things happen so quickly now. We're in a modern age.
Speed dating.
We're here for you. First rounds on Wade and Carter. Miranda, good luck. All right, Stephen, thank you as always.
Appreciate it. Bye.
The Iceman just says this just took a dive.
That happens every once in a while.
I try to run the show to a standard like Sheriff Louderback, Judge Posey.
Randy Langston asked if it's Monday Singles Day.
They probably both completely checked out on the show. In fact, I'd like to, if Judge, if you or AJ are still here, if you just let us know you're still here, it would mean the world.
So the Democratic National Convention was last week. Didn't watch any of it. I've caught fairly in-depth recaps over the weekend because I actually had time to sit down and dissect some of this stuff.
This segment brought to you by Match.com. And there's a link. Nice.
but they didn't mention impeachment once.
No.
This was a 3-year in the making circus, farce, BS.
Yeah. Backfire, joke,
Yeah.
foolish stunt.
And they didn't, and yeah.
Right.
And they didn't mention it once, right?
Yeah.
You would think for something that took up 3 years of the Democrats' time that they would have brought that out. They would have had a better candidate than Joe Biden to begin with in the last 3 years. But they didn't mention impeachment once. But I found it interesting. They had the audacity to talk about the Russian bounty on our servicemen.
Which has been around forever. It has.
Yeah, and we've had servicemen that I've talked to on this show say everybody knew it, regardless of I mean, it happens. It's war. They put a bounty on you. But what I found interesting is you have the audacity to talk about a Russian bounty on President Trump isn't doing anything except, being in bed with Putin, which the Senate Intelligence Committee found that there was absolutely no collusion last week. That was quietly, and a bipartisan committee, by the way. Republicans and Democrats signed off on this report that there was no collusion. And that just slid past
nobody ever
the mainstream media
to the president.
No.
Didn't they say the Mueller report was all just kind of bungled anyway?
Yeah, well, I mean, a whole bunch of stuff came out last week. We talked a little bit about it as well.
We didn't bore you folks with all that stuff that came out last week.
Yeah, no, some of it. But I found it interesting. They had the audacity to talk about the Russian bounty, yet Joe Biden was vice president to an administration that sent hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars to Iran.
Yep.
To a regime whose number one terrorist, President Trump, ordered a strike on to kill him. Away from
wonderful little strategic
away
strike.
from collateral damage.
Yeah, just took him out on the back roads of Morocco.
Who verifiably is responsible for the deaths of about 600 American servicemen and women and some
intelligence community folks
and some others who are just working there, and American citizens,
support
contractors
staff.
And such, right? He's got a verified death toll of about 400 notches on his gun. And there's absolutely no mention of the billions and millions that we sent to Iran to prop up a regime that was killing 600 of our servicemen and women and others and citizens.
They should have all been
Iraq.
Thrilled. They should have all been thrilled that the U.S. got this guy, and instead the Democrats were like, he didn't run that by Congress. Well, knowing Joe Biden, Joe would call and go, you need to get out of there, Jack. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Who do you trust with espionage these days? By the way, when you were saying and some, I was like going, 2 syllables. I thought we were playing charades for a second, like you were trying to make me guess.
No, not at all.
No, but usually we work together. But today it's like a competition. You're making me guess at what you're trying to say.
But I would hope that somebody at the RNC this week will bring that up.
Supposedly Trump's going to speak every night. I told Ash I'm not going to listen to it because much like I ignored the Democratic convention, I don't want to let actual facts or information get in the way of the way I'm going to vote. I've already decided, and I don't want to learn anything.
Well, here's the problem, and there won't be a lot of facts spewed at this one. There were not a lot of facts spewed at the DNC. There was a lot of fake news. There were a lot of things that if the fact checkers either ignored completely, or the ones that actually do a good job of fact checking these things, they were completely dismissed and ignored by the media when it came to fact checking. Kamala Harris, Michelle Obama, pretty much all the speakers. Joe Biden, it appears, Canadians figured this out. His 24-minute acceptance speech was the shortest acceptance speech at a Democrat convention since Walter Mondale in '84.
You know why? Because
he knows he's going to lose.
Any hope either. He didn't talk about the things he wants to do.
He talked about dark and light, peace and hope. I mean, it was a bunch of rhetoric and BS. No substance, no actual solutions to the problems that, let's be honest, did not exist pre-COVID. This country was blowing and going.
Right. And
pre-COVID.
Trump's fault.
And now they talk about how we're in a bad place and this country's terrible and we've got a depression. 6 months ago, no such talk.
I'm not going to be able to listen to Trump, because if Trump would focus on what he's done and what he said he was going to do, and he would focus on like this latest peace accord, if he would talk about getting us out of NAFTA, if he would recap NATO, the things he's done well, but he's going to go, Creepy Joe and Carpet Burn Kamala, these two people are bad, bad, bad. He's going to talk bad about his competition. He's going to talk down to the American people. I'm starting to believe that his vocabulary really is as weak as this is super duper.
I think he does a lot of things just to troll people.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's a narcissist of the highest order. And I mean, I enjoy the guy. I do. I enjoy him very much.
But Joe Biden was accused of plagiarizing a good part of his acceptance speech on, when was that, Thursday night?
You want to go outside and check? You think I'm a plagiarist? You want to go outside? I do 50 push-ups.
From a socialist in Canada named Jack Layton, who was the leader of the New Democrat Party, the NDP. On his farewell speech to Canada, he died, I think, of cancer. And as he was telling Canadians goodbye, he talked a lot about peace and light and hope and dark. I mean, Canadians who were watching it were like, geez, this is almost like Jack Layton's farewell speech to Canada.
Did Jack was elected at the time?
I think he was the Democrat leader. He was never prime minister or anything like that.
He just felt like he should apologize for dying.
I guess, yeah. Sorry.
And he got on the Canadian Broadcasting Network. Yeah. Tune in for unbiased free speech tomorrow on CBN, brought to you by Justin Trudeau.
CBC.
Whatever, same thing, right? I mean,
pretty much.
There it is.
Yeah.
We'd like to welcome all of our Canadian listeners. We have fun. We love your country. Love you.
But Joe Biden has been accused of plagiarism a lot in his career. A lot of his speeches have been plucked.
But if you don't remember what you thought, how do you know it wasn't an original thought? I mean, he doesn't remember.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. He doesn't remember enough to fact check the people writing his speeches. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
7:52, 52 minutes after the hour. Let's talk about Uncle Mutt's Barbecue.
Let's talk about them.
They do remember how to make brisket, ribs, sausage, chicken, turkey, all the sides.
They just can't remember that they open at 11.
They open 11-ish.
Around 11.
Around 10:30. Yeah. They gave themselves an extra half hour, only because they're trying to get it right. When they open the door, some places you open the door and the brisket's still a little hard. It's chewy. When Uncle Mutt's opens up, it's ready to go. Get in there and get after Uncle Mutt's today. You'll be thankful you did. They came off a weekend. The pit's been hot since about 1970. Just get in there and let Uncle Mutt's take care of you. USA Concrete Coatings.
Charlie Garcia.
578 Home.
You've got an area around your pool that's not looking good. They can coat that up for you too. Saw some pictures over the weekend of a beautiful job they did around a pool. Caller, hang on 1 minute. Literally 1 minute. Went services, went generators, went solar panels, went battery backups to the solar panels, went plumbing, went all your electrical needs. Call them. Went will come out. They'll tell you how to get a new generator right here in the middle of generator season. The prices don't go up. It just may take an extra day or two to get it installed. Yeah. They'll take care of you. They'll come out and do it. And then, of course, Gray Barn Design. Call Cheryl anytime. You want to have a big party? You want to make it memorable? 920-6803. You call Cheryl. She'll come out. She'll sit down and listen. She'll listen to you about what you want your party to look like, how you want it to feel, the atmosphere you want for a wedding, a quinceañera, for a reunion, an office event, whether it's formal, casual. She won't plagiarize the same theme over and over and over again. She'll make it unique to your event.
Yep, absolutely. Reach out to Gray Barn Design. That's it. That's all our announcements for the day. What did Chris Conrad say? We got a caller. I'm sorry, caller. Hang on.
Chris Conrad said, Biden's never had an original thought, and you raise a good point. The guy can hide his own Easter eggs every day.
There you go. Caller, hello. Welcome to the show. How can we help? Well, let's talk about him. Are you a Joe Biden fan? Do you think he's going to do a good job? Tell me what I'm always curious, and I'm by the way, please accept this. It's radio. We're trying to have fun, and we're trying to get you to call. So, well, we sure appreciate that, ma'am. I mean that. Now, tell me, enlighten me as to what you think Joe Biden's going to do well for the country. You just had enough of Donald Trump? Well, there you go. I tell you what, I appreciate the call, and I'm not being silly. It takes courage to pick up the phone. You know that, we make fun of Joe Biden, but we respect your call. And hey, and thank you
Thanks for listening every day. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, when's your birthday? Okay, then we'll make sure and not give you a shout out on May 2nd, because we don't do that for anybody. But if we did, we would give you a happy birthday on that day. And you take care, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And there you go. And by the way, hats off to that young lady right there for calling and saying, hey, you know what? I'm tired of Donald Trump. I'm tired of 4 years of his presidency, and I'm ready for a
I think
good
she called
change.
it BS.
Yeah, she said that's it. She said, I don't appreciate you guys putting down Joe Biden. Good for her. We've been asking for that call for 4 years, about 4 years. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. That's awesome.
361-575-9509.
That's
the
awesome.
next one.
I would love to have like an outcry of Democrats calling and saying, hey, we're pro Biden and we're proud of it.
Bob Watley says those Easter eggs would still be lost at Christmas.
Can you imagine if Joe Biden hid his own Easter eggs? I just don't know where they are. Yeah. Of course, he'd invite little girls to come over and look for the eggs, sniff their necks.
My wife says he admitted to plagiarism.
Did he? He did a while back. Yeah, about something else.
Yeah, probably not this weekend.
You got to wonder, though, folks, in politics, it's got to be difficult to say something that some idiot hasn't said somewhere. I mean, come on.
We promised to fix the country. How often have you heard that?
You're plagiarizing. You sound like Ronald Reagan. Yeah, no, I get that. I think that's
Here's why I don't. I'll give you the reason why I don't watch these conventions.
Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm listening.
Yeah. Well, it's a bunch of bluster. You need me to turn this up for you?
I want to find.
Hold on. You got to do something else first, or you're going to end up. Hold on. Let me do this.
You're in
because
charge.
Facebook is going to.
Yeah,
you're going to hear the Facebook.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to help you. Help me help you.
Go to this.
Go to what?
This. We got to do that for the lady that called. That's
right there.
That's it. There you have it. We had a call. We had a post at the bottom that said to give you another round of applause, and we did. By the way, I would like for her to call once a week and just tell us what's going on and be the counterpoint. I think that's good stuff.
Yeah, but here's why I was fortunate enough to see political conventions at the ground floor. I worked for CTV helping to cover the Liberal Convention when it was in Calgary. Late 90s.
No.
Late in the 90s.
You thought you were covering the deal when you were out pushing that big dust mop?
Yeah.
Remember you could smell the oil?
Yeah.
You're just part of the political process. You're just helping them put the convention on.
Jean Chrétien won the Liberal leadership. He was voted the Liberal leader at that convention. And all I remember, this was the eye opener for me with these things. He had no plans. He had no set plans on what he was going to do, other than said, if you elect me your leader, we'll make changes. And as he was saying in his out of the side of his mouth, which is amazing, we have work to do. That was his slogan the entire convention. And he would make a statement, and then he would go, and everybody in the crowd would go, "We have work to do." I mean, it was like being at a revival. And that's why I won't watch the Republican National Convention, because it's a bunch of bluster. It's a bunch of hype. And I doubt, and maybe this one might be different with the president.
Yeah.
But I doubt we're going to see anything of any substance as to why.
Yeah.
You know,
It's as Randy Langston points out, they're saying that Biden's not progressive enough. So they're wondering how much they're going to have to push him when he's reelected or when he's elected. And Randy does make a very legit point that this garbage is not going to end because there's too many groups that have their own plans. There's going to be groups that want certain things.
Well, he's been trying to redefine his image. If you've listened to him speak when he does speak, going back to about
He thinks he's a black man.
after South Carolina, he's the most progressive conservative ever. He's already so concerned about his legacy. And I always worry about politicians who care about their legacy.
Right.
He wants to be. By the time I'm done, I'll be the most progressive president ever. Like, that's a good thing.
I've been in Congress 43 years. I've just been sitting around at the
Yeah,
buffet.
I haven't done anything that you can, say has led to any good change. And progressive is just new
It's a
term
buzzword.
speak for socialist communist.
Right. That's what it is. It's got nothing to do with moderation, or he's not a Bill Clinton Democrat.
No.
Although he worked closely with Bill Clinton. He should know better.
Well, but he's pandering, and he's had to acquiesce to the AOCs and to the Bernie Sanders group. Mark my words, if Joe Biden gets elected, I don't think he will. And you'll find out after, if he doesn't, how many people that were running against him, of those 17 others that were on the stage during the Democrat debates.
Right.
It'll be curious to see how many of them end up with cabinet positions or were promised high positions in his administration.
No, I agree.
It's the only way in my mind he got them all to bow out at the same time, except for Bernie. And now he's taking on Bernie's platform.
Right. Bernie's using leverage against him. Interesting. We've made it to the top of the hour. It's almost Tuesday in Newfoundland. Hope you guys have a great day. Brother Gary, alongside the Hall of Famer, Ralph Salazar, being here in a minute.